And I've been an active member of the Roslindale community for the past 6 years, as a resident, as a board member of Roslindale Village Main Street, and now as a co-owner of the substation, where we are this morning, with my business partner, Adam Rogoff. Thank you. This historic building, which was revived through years of community engagement, now engages its community in a variety of ways. We cultivate connection through our co-working community, through a beer hall that's open to the public on Fridays and Saturdays, through private and community events, as well as arts and cultural programming. So our goal is really to keep the space as activated as much of the time as possible, in a variety of different ways. Whether people are looking for an industrial chic venue for gathering loved ones and celebrating, or a community of remote professionals to connect with outside of their homes, we provide that space for folks here at the substation. As a business, like so many others in the neighborhood, we serve people who are living, working, and playing in this community. And we're very excited about the growth that we're starting to see. Adam and I feel personally, and especially as business owners, that affordable housing development contributes directly to the vibrancy and the economic success of our neighborhood. With increased housing opportunities in our neighborhood, our small businesses will thrive. So thank you all for being here. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome Mayor Michelle Wu to the podium.
Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, I think, at this point, maybe. Thank you so much to Laura and Adam and everyone who makes this space such an important hub of our neighborhood and our community. We could have a whole separate press conference about how much went into making sure that the substation could be what it is today and how long and how many partners, but the results are really remarkable, and you just have to come back basically any night of the week, and you'll see kids running around, parents finally getting to take a breath and enjoy a drink or some performance or event happening, and that is really what we want to cultivate across every part of our city and every neighborhood, is a sense of home that comes from, first, having stable housing that you don't have to worry about, that you know is safe, warm, healthy, and is yours. And then also having all the people in and around that constellation to make it possible for you to really put down roots throughout the community. So we're here for a set of exciting announcements and awards of funding to partners who have put a lot of work in to build not just houses, but homes across our city. I'm thankful for my colleagues in elected office who are here. I'm joined by State Reps Russell Holmes, Rob Consalvo, and I think City Councilor Enrique Pepin said he was parking and on the way or something close, so he'll be here in a little bit. And also, of course, the incredible people that I get to call colleagues and am blessed to work alongside in City Hall every single day. Our Chief of Planning and Director of the BPDA, Arthur Jemison. Our Chief of Housing, Sheila Dillon. Our Associate Director of the Neighborhood Housing and Development Division, Christine O'Keefe. And to all of the many, many teams who have supported this effort, could you wave your hand if you work for the city, BPDA, and all of these teams? Thank you, thank you. So today we are marking an incredible collaboration, $69 million that will go toward making Boston a city that's easier for everyone to call home.
Now that's what you tap for, right?
Rep. Holmes and I were getting the full rundown from Chief Dillon right before this of, okay, what are all of the jigsaw pieces that fit together to add up to $69 million? And there are probably, she ticked off some 6, 7, 8 funding sources across city dollars, Community Preservation Act, state contribution to some of those funds, and federal dollars. And it just goes to show that Boston is a community where every single penny that we can find to make sure that we can build homes for our residents. We are going to put together and then grow it so that the total sum is more than its individual parts. We're talking about seniors who will be able to afford to stay in the neighborhoods that raise them and where they raise their families. Families who will put down roots that will have impact for generations to come. Young people growing up feeling like this is their community and owning a home someday isn't a pipe dream. This is my neighborhood, so I'm very excited that we could do this announcement here. I've been lucky to be raising my family here and to understand just a bit of how much advocacy has gone into building a neighborhood that can be a home for so many. One of the projects here also that we are highlighting, you'll hear from Phil in a little bit, will add even more to the vibrancy of this neighborhood. More than 30 units of mixed income housing that will be coming to Rosendale Village, which includes more than 4,000 square feet of first floor retail space and a community theater. So residents won't have housing alone. They'll be surrounded by the resources and community spaces they need to build a full life. And I hope Boston Communities and Phil will get into a little bit of the backstory also of how all of this came together. But it just, again, is one more example of the incredible journey that each one of these developments represents and how much heart and how much work go into putting together each of these projects. The one that will be right nearby here will be just one of 14 new projects that will create and preserve more than 800 units of income-restricted housing across 9 different neighborhoods. And whenever you mention that in Boston, people want to know which 9, so I'm going to just make sure you know. The 9 that will be touched by this round of funding dollars: Allston Brighton, Charlestown, Dorchester, East Boston, Jamaica Plain, Mattapan, Mission Hill, Rosendale, and Roxbury. These projects include a range of rental and home ownership opportunities, affordable housing, senior housing, supportive housing, partnerships with for-profit and nonprofit developers, built on public and private land, and every single one of the projects will be meeting the zero emissions building requirements outlined in our Office of Housing Design Standards. So rather than accept some of the false choices that are so often put out about stability or community or sustainability or affordability, Boston is really trying to show that we can make all of our dollars stretch when we partner and collaborate and do even more together. We prioritize affordability and sustainability and making sure that the experience of residents will be the highest quality anywhere. Cities all around the country are struggling with the same challenges when it comes to housing. And we want to be that model here in Boston, leveraging every tool, preserving affordable housing where it exists, building where it doesn't, and fighting displacement in every single one of our neighborhoods. So thank you again to our Office of Housing, Neighborhood Housing Trust, Community Preservation Committee, all of our city teams for making Boston a city where cost doesn't get in the way of community. Now we'll pass it over to our Chief of Housing, Sheila Dillon, who will be followed by Phil and the Boston Communities team, and then our elected officials who will each say a quick hello, and then we will get to the actual award part.
Thank you, Mayor. It's wonderful to be here today to announce the city's funding awards for affordable and mixed income housing. The projects receiving funding commitments today were underwritten, scored, scrutinized, and determined to be the best projects out of a very competitive funding round. As the mayor mentioned, this funding, made up of many city sources and federal money, will create 826 units. The vast, vast majority of those are going to be income restricted and serve our residents. It's worth noting that all of the funding of these projects will continue what this administration has started. So get out your notebook, right? In the past 2 years, the city of Boston has permitted 2,323 new units of income-restricted housing. The vast majority of those are in construction or like one paper away from starting construction. This is the most income-restricted housing over a 2-year period that we have ever permitted since in the last 25 years anyways. So we're going to add these 775 units to that 2,300, and we're going to keep this going with all of you. It's the only way we're going to solve our housing issues. And as the mayor mentioned, while many towns are deciding not to allow any housing, let alone income-restricted housing, the City of Boston's working hard to retain its existing residents and certainly be welcoming to those that want to call Boston home. And while sometimes numbers, we struggle with this, numbers are numbers, sometimes you lose sight of what those numbers mean. But in this funding round, we're housing families, we're housing our older adults, we're housing folks that have been homeless, we're housing our veterans. Really, we are touching so many lives, so thank you. There's also one preservation project that we are funding today, and that is the Forbes Apartments, David, and Jamaica Plain. A long time coming, and we're not there yet. But, so appreciation. First and foremost, I want to thank all of you for getting us here today. You have seized opportunities, put together quality applications, agreed to make your developments carbon neutral, and made commitments to ensure that local businesses benefit economically. Your developments will house our residents, but also contribute to Boston's climate and equity goals. Thank you, thank you. The mayor mentioned it, but I want to thank the Mayor's Office of Housing, especially Christine O'Keefe. And I see Rick Wilson in the back, too. He's our A&F director, so he tells us when we're overspending or when we've got a little bit left in this pot or a little bit left in that pot, and he really does keep us honest. What we award is money that we actually have, which is important, right? So thank you, Rick. I did see Jessica Boatwright in the past. Jessica has left us on to explore all things modular, but she started this round, so thank you, Jessica. So these projects are receiving CPA Act or linkage funding. I want to thank the members of the CPC and the Neighborhood Housing Trust for putting in countless hours in a volunteer basis to review and shape these developments. And if any of you think that these volunteer boards are rubber stamps, think again, think again. They want to see each project, they want to understand each project, and they want to shape each project. So I really do want to thank them for endless hours of review. So thank you, thank you. A few, also, it's important, Thadeen Brown is behind me. She manages the CPA funding and doing a fabulous job, making sure, along with the CPC, that at least half, sometimes more, of our CPA dollars, and they're precious, right? They're for green space, they're for historic preservation, but Boston is making sure that we spend a lot of our CPA resources on housing, whereas you know, because you read it, a lot of city and towns are not. So thank you so much. And she's also joined today with Felicia Jacques, who is the board chair, and Catherine Hardaway. I want to call her out as well. I don't think she was able to come, but she chairs the Neighborhood Housing Trust. So just want to mention that there's lots of private money in all of these projects too. There's pre-development lenders, there's permanent lenders, there's construction lenders, there's syndicators. Some of you are here today. You're too numerous to mention, but it is very important that we take our resources and leverage both private, quasi-public, and state funding. So thank you for your role in this. We really do appreciate it. Finally, my city partners. I'm joined here today with Arthur Jemison, Director Jemison. Many of you, these projects have triggered small project review or large project review, and the BPDA has worked with you to get these projects through the neighborhoods and through a really good, robust community engagement process. So I can't thank them enough for their partnership with MOH. Administrator Bach is in DC today, but some of you have gotten Section 8s for your projects, so I do want to call out her and her team. And ISD and water and sewer, and the list goes on and on. PIC, there are so many departments that you touch, and we're behind the scenes all working together to make sure we can advance these projects. But without further ado, I'd like to invite, if it's okay, Director Jemison up just to say a quick word or two.
Sure. Hey, good morning. I'll just add a couple of comments. You know, when you listen to the sheer number of organizations and participants it takes to have behind each one of these projects, it's really thrilling to be here today announcing such a significant award coming from so many different sources. You know, the part of it that I'm administering is trying to make sure that there's a thoughtful, appropriate process of community dialogue and input behind each one of these projects before they go to the board. And so I'm assisted in that by a whole set of staff at the BPDA in development review, urban design, and planning who stand behind each one of these approvals today. So we're really thrilled to be here and standing behind you, Sheila. Again, the regularity with which each one of these complicated and detailed partnerships results in housing that puts Bostonians in safe, clean, and decent accommodations every night is something amazing, Sheila, and you've been doing it for such a long time. It's a real honor to work with you and your team on this every day. So I'd love to pass it back to you. Appreciate the invitation to share some comments.
We just want to invite Phil and Marie to come on up and talk a little bit about their project. So come on up.
Hi, everyone. I'm Marie Morissette with the Boston Communities team. We have Matt and Phil, we're also part of the team. So just want to say a few things. First of all, the Boston Communities team, I just want to share our mission. We believe in housing as the foundation of a healthy community and a catalyst for economic growth. And it's on that mission that we proceed with every development project. I want to say thank you to the City of Boston and the Mayor's Office of Housing. Particularly, I want to shout out the Mayor's Office of Housing, the architect and design team that worked very closely with us. We spent lots of time really looking at the development site, which is actually less than a block away. So as you're exiting, it's right around the corner where we'll be building and bringing 31 units, which 87% are under 60% AMI, and so really deep affordability that we're providing. Thank you, thank you. And this neighborhood is thriving and vibrant, and to be able to bring in families at affordable rental is just we feel very privileged and honored to have the opportunity to do that. I do want to share a little bit more about the design and the project and the other impact that we're making, and I'll invite Phil up to say a few words.
Thank you, everyone. So Boston Communities is a partnership between Marie Morissette, Matt Rabina, and myself. Thank you both. I could not do this without you. I also want to thank the ARCS Urban team for not only spending so much time with this community and permitting this development, but then entrusting us to lead the charge on creating this affordable community and supporting us in so many ways along the way. So thank you to the ARCS team, some of the most innovative developers that I've ever worked with. Also want to thank our local business partners who not only stuck through this project throughout the permitting process, and some of them are here today, but also have agreed to stick with us during construction and come back afterwards to create a vibrant, mixed-use community once we're complete. So thank you so much. And last but not least, I want to thank the City of Boston, not only for making this possible with the funding that you're providing to create this mixed-income community, but also just with the passion and the dedication to affordable housing that the City of Boston staff has demonstrated time and time again for this project and for all of these developments and all these communities that we're building and we're starting the process on today. It's been the pleasure of a lifetime working with you. I really, really appreciate your support. And I want to thank all of you. We're very much all in this together. Every time you guys get funded or pull a building permit or lease up a unit, I celebrate because there's one more house in this area. There's one more affordable opportunity for a family in need. So one of the things we're doing is trying to create an open and transparent real estate development community and environment because we really are working together to create a more inclusive Boston. So thank you all for being here.
All right. All right, we're going to start with the old guy, they say. Seniority. So I'm Russell Holmes. I have the honor of representing parts of Mattapan, Dorchester, Hyde Park, Rosendale, and JP. I want to just begin by saying thank you to everybody in this room. I'm going to say to you, I sat through another meeting last night, Councilor Worwell and I, and it is the community process that you have to get through in this city, that the mayor is changing, that we're going to try our best to make it so that we're going to build more as a right, and just the fact that you have to go through this very difficult process, and still after we go through it, the community says they didn't have enough input. And so last night was just another example of how we were at a neighborhood meeting, and there were two large projects, one not so large, but one where the street was saying we didn't put enough affordable housing in this project. We had only 3 units of the affordable housing, and we should have put more. And then on the other street, just 2 streets over, it was 100% affordable, and people were commenting, you put too much, right? And this is in the same meeting. And so I want to just thank you because of the fact that at the state level, we are doing everything we can to make it so that Boston does not have to shoulder all of the affordable units by itself for this region. And I can tell you the Attorney General and Governor and all of us are real clear on this. Yes, we will sue. Yes, we will take the appropriate actions, but for far too long, we in this room, Jay Lee, Kelly, all of us in rooms, sitting trying to figure out exactly how to get through this to build more. And I have said often that you go down to the seaport and you will build a monstrosity on your thumbnail. That's what you can build over there. But I can't build 5 units of housing in my neighborhood. And they feel like things are just out of control. So just know I'm in the fight. And I keep saying to all you developers, while you have a moment, come to my district. Come on. Come on over. I have no problem with that because I will be in the fight because we have to deliver more housing. Let me just end by saying 150 Center Street was a prime example of how we had a neighborhood that I have said over and over again, if I can't build 74 units next to transit housing, I can't build it anywhere. I just can't. And it's now all affordable, and that is the fight that we're in. I see Elizabeth with the State Hospital site, and we're trying to get to life there. Congratulations to both. Sorry, I should say that. But then when Minister Culpepper comes to me and says, hey, we're going to build these 27 units next to his church, he said over and over again, well, I said to him, I've driven by there I don't know how many times and wondered who owned it. He says we had to get it right financially, and now we've gotten it right, and we're going to come build some housing, and it's going to be all affordable housing. This is what we're here to do. It is unacceptable that it costs $125,000 a year for any single person to live here. It is unacceptable to me that black people have to move from our communities we grew up in to Brockton, Randolph, Stoughton, Randolph, and all of the other southern places. We should be able to live in this city too. And the way we're going to do that is continue to do what you guys are doing, and that is come on through the neighborhood, build affordable units, and just know I'm in the fight. Thanks so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to start by thanking the mayor for choosing the substation because I could walk here for this press conference, although I was still late. So I don't know how that happened. But it's no surprise to anyone. If you read the front page of the bulletin yesterday, I'm pro-development. And to me, this is really good news. Because as someone that was personally kicked out of public housing as a 10-year-old, parents ended up having to find a new place to live. Families upon families that had to live on Section 8. Families that couldn't afford to pay for more than 60% AMI units. The fact that you're bringing that to Rosendale makes me feel good. And I just want to see more of it. In a time where we're having a housing crisis across the entire city, across the entire state, I want to make sure that we're on the right side of history. I look at Rosendale and Hyde Park and Mattapan, which are the three neighborhoods that I represent, and this is where we should be building that, because what I'm realizing is that this is where our families live, and I want to make sure that those families are able to stay here, but I also want to see more families coming into these neighborhoods to support our main streets, to support Rosendale Square, Cleary Square, and Mattapan Square. That is the bloodline of our neighborhoods, of my district. So I thank you, those who are building the 4198 Washington Street and similar buildings, to keep bringing them. I'm very happy to support them. I just thank you and the administration and everyone that played a role in that, because that's the only way we're going to keep Boston the strong city that it is. So thank you for having me here. I just want to continue to be an advocate for these kind of projects. Thank you.
They want the best-looking elected to close it out with Rep. Consalvo. But everyone, I'm Ruthie Louis-Jean, president of the Boston City Council, and I'm just really extremely happy to be here. I'll echo the sentiments of my colleagues that we need to be building more housing, and we especially need to be building more affordable housing. We are a city, cities develop, and we need to make sure that we're doing that while centering our families that matter most. I know when I'm in the right room, when I see advocates and I see developers and I see lawyers all in the right place. And so we have to do a better job. We're not going to single lot our way out of this housing crisis. It means that we have to think about building, and we have to think about transit-oriented housing. And so I just want to uplift all the comments saying that this is the right way forward. It's not easy. It's not painless. I think Rep. Holmes was sharing with us some experiences sometimes that we have in civic organizations, but it's really trying to help move everyone into the right direction. Yesterday, we had a hearing on the City Council about about further tenant protections, about right to counsel, about all the ways that we can prevent displacement, and we need to do that while also thinking about how we build housing. As a former housing attorney, it would break my heart when people would get evicted Thursday after Thursday in housing court because they can't pay their rent, because they have nowhere else to go. We need to build affordable so that our residents, like Rep. Holmes said, are able to stay in our city, the city where they were born and raised. As someone who grew up in Mattapan and Hyde Park, it heartens me to see this development in all of our neighborhoods, because that's what we need. So thank you to everyone who's here. Thank you to the mayor, the City Council. When these come before us, either through the Community Preservation Act or when it came to ARPA money, we were all enthusiasts about investing in housing, because the number one call that we get in our offices every day is about housing. So thank you for your work, and thank you for partnering with us.
Well, Council President, I thank you for your kind comments. I think we both know I have a face for radio, so, but I appreciate you saying that. So I am going to be very brief. My boss, Sheila Dillon, said I had to be brief. But I did work for DND for a long time, and I want to say I have a lot of bosses in my life, but no greater boss than Sheila Dillon, who I worked for. And I also want to just commend the mayor for continuing to have this laser-like focus on housing and on issues that are important to our community. You've heard folks talk about no one can do it alone. We can't do it at the state alone. The city can't do it alone. It's going to take all of us working together in partnership to get this done. I'm so excited that on the state level we have what I call a once-in-a-lifetime historic housing bond bill that's before us for a vote sometime in the next 5 weeks. I will say, for me, I speak everywhere I go about housing being the most important and number one issue we face. This vote I take on the housing bond bill that I can't wait to vote for and be a part of that historic vote in the House will be one of the most important votes we take, certainly this session and any session after this, because of the opportunities that are in this bond bill to set the path forward for housing all across the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So it's going to take the state, it's going to take the city, it's going to take cities and towns, it's going to take all of you in this room, which you know, but as has been said, we can't do it alone. And it takes the great partners. I see many. I'm so proud to have the Pride opening in my district, Boston, and New England's first LGBTQ-friendly senior housing in Hyde Park, that I was proud to secure money for in the budget with Representative Holmes and others to help support that. It's going to take us working together, it's going to take creative uses, and it's going to take all of us having a laser-like focus on that. And that's why I want to close with just thanking the mayor and her team. The D&D team, all of the staff that I worked with as colleagues go above and beyond the call of duty. And also, the mayor mentioned the Neighborhood Housing Trust, unsung heroes who work hard every day to make sure this city has the resources it needs. Mayor, thank you very much. Look forward to continuing to work with you.
Okay, all right, we're going to give out some money now. So I just want to emphasize one thing that Rep. Consalvo said. Yesterday, you might have seen in the Globe, Speaker Mariano was interested or open to the transfer fee, staying in the bond bill. So if we could just lift that up, and if whatever you can do, the transfer fee, as the mayor has said many times, would double our housing budget, which is important to every single one of you in this room if we want to continue to grow our affordable housing stock. So that was really good news, and I think we just need to reinforce that. Okay, enough editorializing. So I'm going to start calling up folks to get their award letters. If you could just stand over here, and Christine O'Keefe, rightfully so, is going to give them out, and then we're going to take one big group picture. And if you could, not applause, I know. Just hold off so we can get through this, because there's 14. So I'm going to do it by neighborhood. In Alston Brighton, 95 Everett Street, an 88-unit transit-oriented development being done by Penrose. The development will feature first floor space designated for local commercial and/or cultural uses. In Charlestown, the Independence at the Navy Yard, led by the Planning Office of Urban Affairs in St. Francis House, converting the vacant Constitution Inn into 100 units of affordable rental housing. This project has not been easy. The development team has really listened to the community, and it's going to provide 48 units dedicated for folks that were formerly homeless, including vets and women. Dorchester, St. Mary's, in collaboration once again with the Planning Office of Urban Affairs, will create new residential building on the St. Mary's campus, replacing a very outdated shelter that many of us have toured, providing 71 units with supportive housing, permanent supportive housing for formerly homeless families. 150 Center Street in Shawmut Station, another project that has taken a lot of effort to get across the finish line. A project by Trinity Financial will create 72 new affordable rental homes on a transit-oriented site adjacent to the Shawmut MBTA station. 247 Hancock, a development by Arcs Urban, will convert an underutilized car wash into a residential community. The mixed-income, transit-oriented development will create 47 mixed-income homes. Hillsborough Live-Work Condominiums, a development by New Atlantic in collaboration with the Humphrey Street artist community. You may remember that a while back the city was able to help the artists buy and secure their buildings. Now behind it we're going to build affordable home ownership, giving preference to artist households. In East Boston, 2 Shawsheen, a project by East Boston CDC, will construct 22 new affordable home ownership units on a vacant site in Orion Heights. What's very noteworthy about this development is the size of the units. We're really targeting families and sizable families. Jamaica Plain, the Forbes Building, an existing building in Jamaica Plain containing 147 units of existing, some of its existing affordable housing. It has lost its affordability, or pieces of it are going to be lost very, very soon. Working with the tenants and the owner of Paul Clayton, we are providing resources to keep that affordable. In Mattapan, the residence at Blue Hill is a proposed residential development by Lincoln Avenue Capital, located on the corner of Blue Hill Avenue and Colbert Street. This 5-story building will create 41 new income-restricted apartments on a vacant site. Treehouse in Olmsted Village will be constructed on one of the remaining sites at the former Mattapan State Hospital campus. 2 Life communities will create 40 apartments for older adults. Additionally, the development will provide new housing for adoptive and foster families and for youth transitioning out of the foster care system. 3036 Mildred Avenue, a collaboration between Norfolk Design and Construction and the trustees of reservations, and very much so the surrounding community. It's going to develop the city-owned parcels into new home ownership opportunities and a community garden right next door that the neighborhood can enjoy. Mission Hill, Parcel 25, Phase 3, does it ever end? The Mission Hill NHS will create 94 units on an MBTA-owned parcel adjacent to Roxbury Crossing. This unit will complete, I think, the development of this once vacant blighted parcel. Rosendale, you heard about it, 4200 Washington Street. This mixed-income, mixed-use development located right that way will create 31 units of mixed-income housing and retain the existing businesses and organizations. And then finally, but certainly not least, Roxbury, Nehemiah at 157 Blue Hill Avenue is a long time coming collaborative effort between Pleasant Hill Missionary Baptist Church and Nuestra Comunidad. This 4-story development will create 26 income-restricted homes for families and a 2,000 square foot space that the community, the church, and the new residents can enjoy. Give it up.
Yes. Of course.